Hello guys, welcome back. My name's Nathan and today I'm going to be making 5 different bold predictions for the 2020 NHL draft. Now we're just a couple of days away from the draft happening and I'm so freaking excited. But we saw in the last draft of 2019 the unpredictability. Guys like Maurice Seider jumping up from around 15 to number 6. And that was just the tip of the iceberg of what we saw last year. And this time around, I don't see it being too much different. Especially in the first half of this first round, I see a lot of unpredictability and a lot of things that'll go unexpected. So, what are my bold predictions for the 2020 NHL draft, and how do I see the draft turning out this time around? Watch till the end for all my predictions and all my thoughts, and of course, hit that big red subscribe button for more videos just like this one. And you know what? We're gonna get straight into it with my first bold prediction for the 2020 NHL draft. This one is definitely has a lot of spice on the spice meter, but I still think it could happen. Now, just also as a disclaimer, these aren't my official predictions, but bold takes that could become reality. Going on to number 1, my first bold prediction, Yaroslav Askarov will go top 5 in this draft. The big-time goaltender and the best goaltender in this class, I have a feeling will at least go top 10. Honestly, if he goes outside the top 10, I'd be pretty surprised at this point. He is the best goaltender in this draft for really great reasons. Fantastic athleticism, great mold, and just a great overall tool set for goaltending. Solid size as well, but it's the athleticism, it's the hockey IQ he has, which is ridiculous. And so far in the KHL, he's been straight amazing. I think he's played 2 games up to this point and has allowed like 1 goal so far, something like that, something stupid. And I think Yaroslav Askarov will be a guy that goes pretty high as a result. Now, I still think he would have gone top 15 otherwise, but I feel like with his KHL performance already at age 18, there's going to be a lot of teams that would love to have that. Personally, top 5 might be a little bit much, but it would not surprise me whatsoever if a team like Detroit or even the Ottawa Senators go for him in that top 5. Now, obviously, I'm wearing the Detroit Red Wings jersey, but I think out of Detroit or Ottawa, I feel like the Red Wings are more likely to select Askarov, mostly because the hole in their goaltending department, prospect-wise, is pretty apparent, whereas with Ottawa, they got some guys like Decord and Sugard, who are serviceable goalie prospects that they can live without Askarov. Meanwhile, for the Detroit Red Wings, they got Philip Larson, who's solid, but I don't know if he's going to be anything more than maybe a backup at the NHL level. But Askarov is almost a guaranteed NHL goaltender at least, and has the potential to be one of the best goaltenders in the NHL. And if he does become a top 5 goaltender, getting him at number 4, number 5 isn't the worst pick in the world. Still, for both of those teams, it wouldn't be my pick, and I'd go for a forward for both of them, but I would not be surprised if Askarov goes number 4 or number 5 in this draft. It's probably more likely he goes later in the top 10, maybe to New Jersey, which is really funny because Mackenzie Blackwood should be the guy there, or maybe they go for Minnesota at number 9. I feel like Askarov, though, will go at least in this top 10, and top 5 would not surprise me. I'm sorry, Detroit and Ottawa fans, but it's just the way it has to be. And now going on to number 2, potentially even a more spicy take than number 1, and Askarov going top 5. And again, I want to preface this by saying this isn't my official predictions, but something that I could totally see happening if this draft order goes a little bit bonkers. Going on to my second bold prediction for the 2020 draft, Jamie Drysdale will go outside the top 8. And honestly, if he goes outside the top 10, I wouldn't exactly be the most surprised person in the world, because there will be a lot of surprised people if that happens. I'm not quite sure if I'd be one of them. Now, I want to also say that Jamie Drysdale is a guy that has been falling in my draft rankings as of late. I've been watching him a lot more over the past couple of weeks, just trying to study a lot more of the fundamentals of his game. And I still think he's a top 10 prospect, but right now my draft rankings, I have him number 9. I think that's a guy that can go a little bit overrated in some aspects. I'm not sure if he will be a number 1 top guy in the NHL. I think he could be a top pairing guy, but maybe not that number 1 dependable defenseman. And I feel like that's kind of how other teams feel as well. Now, Jamie Drysdale, I could see going as high as maybe number 6 to Anaheim, but I could also see him dropping outside the top 10. I feel like there's a lot more teams now that prefer guys like Jake Sanderson. Personally, I don't prefer Jake Sanderson, but I could see why people will. excellent defensive game, a lot more refined than Jamie Drysdale, and I think he has a better potential to become an established NHL D-man and actually be a consistent one as well. With Jamie Drysdale, I still will put him in the top 10. I still think he should go top 10, but at the same time, if he goes to a team like a Nashville or a Florida at number 12, again, I wouldn't be too surprised. When we look at the draft order, you got Lafreniere number 1, of course, Byfield, Stutzle, 2nd and 3rd. Then you have Perfetti possibly at number 4 in Detroit. Number 5, let's say Askarov goes to Ottawa. Then at number 6, Jake Sanderson goes to Anaheim. Number 7, New Jersey, Alexander Holtz. Number 8, maybe Marco Rossi. Number 9 would be Lucas Raymond, which would be absolutely nasty. And that leaves room for, who knows. Then you have Winnipeg at number 10. I still think they should pick Anton Lundell. That'd be a perfect fit for them. And you have yourself at number 11 with Jamie Drysdale still available. Although I don't see it happening, don't be surprised if it does on draft day. Do not at me. And hey, you clicked on this video for bold predictions, so don't get mad at me for making bold predictions, and we're going to continue the bold predictions at number 3. And going on to my third bold prediction for the 2020 draft, this one involving Hendrix Lapierre, and I think he will go top 12 in this draft. Another spicy one, but you know, I feel like this is what's going to happen. I see Hendrix Lapierre going, honestly, at least in the top 20, but if he goes in the top 12, I'm not that surprised, to be honest. Now, this obviously depends on the health of this player, and NHL teams know a lot more than we do. But if Hendrix Lapierre is fully healthy, and teams know he is fully healthy, which, by the way, he's playing with the QMJHL, or in the QMJHL this year, it seems like he is, I think Hendrix Lapierre is a guy that could definitely go top 12. We gotta remember, back in the preseason of last season, Hendrix Lapierre was looked at as a top 10 prospect for a lot of people. Even though I had my concerns health-wise, at that point, he definitely was at least a top 15 guy. Now, of course, throughout the season, he was injured and his stock fell. But if he is fully healthy, I mean, he just got a 4-point game in his first game in the QMJHL this year. I think that's a player that could surprise a lot of people on where he goes. Now, I think top 15 is a little bit more likely, but if he goes in the top 12, I would not be too surprised. Honestly, I could see him going as early as number 9 to the Minnesota Wild. If they're in need for a skilled center, Lapierre could definitely bring that. And although I think Anton Lundell will be a perfect fit for them, Hendrix Lapierre, if he does turn out, could be one of the better prospects in this draft. And even if he goes outside of that, maybe Winnipeg gives him a chance. I mean, I look at a team like Nashville, even though they're stacked on centers, they could use some more skill in that lineup. Same thing with the Florida Panthers, who really don't have that much center-wise in their system. And I feel like that's a guy that will surprise people by where he goes. In my mock draft, I had him, I think, number 17 to the Devils. And honestly, I see him going earlier than that. I think Hendrix Lapierre is going to be a guy that rises with his QMJHL performance, but also being fully healthy. I think teams were definitely high on him before he had the injuries, and now that he is looking like he's healthy, I think he will be good to go. Now, I think where he places in the draft will also determine for us a little bit how healthy he is. Because if he does go top 12, that pretty much means that he's completely healthy, or the team that drafts him is making a huge risk that could pay off. But if he goes maybe outside the top 20, we know that maybe there's some concerns there. But again, he got 4 points in his first QMJHL game. I think he's quite alright, and I think NHL teams will agree on that too. Now, going on to my fourth bold prediction for the 2020 draft, we go to Hendrix Lapierre, who's been rising, but we now go to another QMJHL player that I think will fall quite a bit, that sadly being Justin Barron. Now, Justin Barron on paper is a guy that I would have predicted to go in the first round, but we did learn just a week ago that he had another setback, and it seems like with his injury that it might be a little bit more serious than we once thought. He did have surgery for it, but he will miss the beginning of the QMJHL season and will likely miss a couple of months if we're looking at his timetable. I think for NHL teams, again, just like Hendrix Lapierre and the other side for Justin Barron, they'll know a lot more medically than we do about these players, and I feel like Justin Barron, with the way he's trending, will possibly go as late as the third round. That's my bold prediction at number 4, and it's sad because on paper I think Justin Barron does have early second, maybe late first talent, and I think he would have gone there otherwise if he was healthy, but it just doesn't seem that way. And he already had an iffy year in 2020 due to those injuries, and when he was playing he was kind of just meh, didn't really make too much progress and almost looked worse than he did in 2019, and then you add on top of that him not starting in the season for the QMJHL. That's just a rough blow to a guy that was looking looking like a top 10 prospect in this draft just a couple of seasons ago. And I feel like Justin Barron still has talent, but when you look at the injuries that he's had to face, it definitely has been consistent, and it just hasn't been able to get past them, it seems like. So I'm not sure where he will go in the NHL draft this time around, but I think we're looking at a late second, early third type selection here. I don't see him going in the first round anymore. Maybe he goes in the late second, but I think that's stretching it a little bit. Honestly, if he goes even to the fourth round, I wouldn't be too surprised. And again, these teams know more than we do, so just like Hendrix, Lapierre, where he gets drafted likely is a good indicator on where he's at in his career. So if he goes in the early second or something, I wouldn't worry too much. And now getting us into my fifth and final bold prediction for the 2020 NHL draft. This one involving the offseason and draft picks. Now, we've already heard a load of rumors about what players could be moved and what will happen this offseason, but in terms of draft picks, I think this first round is going to be very active. For my fifth bold prediction, I have at least 3 teams changing spots / picks in the first round of this 2020 draft. And it could be, honestly, I see most of these picks that will be traded alongside probably the later half of this first round. But last year we actually saw Arizona moving up to get Victor Soderstrom, and I think that's just the tip of the iceberg of what we could see. Teams are going to get a lot of creativity throughout this offseason, and I think a lot of that will come throughout the draft as well. I think we'll see a lot of moves too, and I feel like draft picks will be involved. Also, I will be streaming the draft, so make sure you come by there. So I'll be obviously reacting to that in live time, but I feel like in that first round, we're going to see a lot of activity. I wouldn't say so much in the top 10. I think that's mostly going to say the same, but I feel like in the middle of the first, late first, where you get the contending teams that want to add some stuff, I feel like we'll see those first round picks moved. And honestly, we also heard a lot of rumors about Ottawa potentially moving one of their later first round picks. We also saw New Jersey potentially in play for both 17th and 20th overall. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, or 18th and 20th, never mind. But both New Jersey and Ottawa, 2 rebuilding teams, could move those picks. I think they'll see a lot of different moves here. I'm not sure how many first round picks will actually get traded, but I'm going to say at least 3 right now, locking it in, and I think that will happen in this draft. So you have all these different players moving up and moving down, but also these picks involved. This 2020 draft, y'all, is going to be absolutely insane, and honestly, I'm here for it. I'm here for the ride. I am freaking excited. It's so close, man. Draft time. It's here. So with draft time, let me know down in the comments down below what you agree and disagree with my bold predictions, and what is your bold prediction for the 2020 NHL draft. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell for more videos just like this one. Make sure you share this video out there, get it with your friends, boys, and get it out there as much as you can, and hit this card right here to watch all of my hockey prospect content right in one playlist. My name is Nathan. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Goodbye.